Well, welcome to the Gallop TV Preview Show for Thursday, the 23rd of February. Can you believe it? I just looked at the date. I don't know what date it was until I just looked at it. 23rd of Feb. Wow, it's already 2 months done and dusted of the year. Joined by Alistair Cohen, as always, for our preview show when it comes to our Gauteng race meetings. And Alistair, 23rd of Feb, can you believe it? I mean, when is your Super Saturday there?
Super Saturday, Dees, is on the first Saturday of March, so that's the 5th of March. That's going to be out the top draw. I was telling Raheel on the Monday preview that Dubai World Cup, the actual Dubai World Cup might be a level below what it was in 2022, but the other races, I wouldn't even call it the undercard. It's the main event, I'd say, is going to be the Shima Classic. That is going to be an all-time. I really can't wait for that, the final Saturday of March. Different dynamics this year because we bang in the middle of Ramadan, so it'll be a break for prayers after race 3, I think, and we'll be finishing very, very late. But people are going to be coming in their droves from all around the world. And sadly, the Turffontein card that we're about to preview pulls apart.
You know, on Sunday, I actually worked on Gallop TV, and as you're aware, there was no local race meeting on Sunday, and you guys had that race meeting from Maidan. And I promise you, there was such good interest, and I tried to promote it as much as I could with the jackpot. I mean, it got well over, I think, 120,000, if I'm not mistaken, and it was a highly competitive card. So watched the racing and enjoyed the coverage from Maidan over the weekend.
And I hate to break it to you, that could have been probably the worst card that we've had at Maidan the entire season.
Is it?
It's a pity the stars aligned like that. Nothing really went according to plan. Everyone was on the one and only Godolphin horse. Sense of power.
Sense of
and
power.
That
I was on it. I took a jackpot on the day and I was on it, and I said, the horse has been rested since September. I understand it's a one-time winner. But I mean, with Appleby and Buick, I said, you know what? I have to just take a chance because it could be above that field. And I was traveling and came into the straight. That was it. Hit a brick wall.
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing in the home straight. Very disappointing. There were 3 horses on the day that I liked. The first one ran second behind Maiden Dubai. And then, you know, when Maiden Dubai is winning a maiden, then you know that it's not your day. Because I think that was the 21st run as a maiden for Maiden Dubai. So, yeah, I'm glad to hear that there was interest back home. And it would have been nice to contribute to some of the viewers. Although with my opinion on that card, it would have gone horribly wrong as well. But, you know, the point is that we're now getting into the nitty-gritty. We're towards the end of it. I've got less than 50 days in Dubai for this particular stint. So you're spot on about how time's flying.
Yep, let's get straight into it, Alistair. And on to race number 1. 12:05, you need to get your bets on over 1,800 meters. Would not form part of the exotics. It's a work rider's maiden plate. It's for fillies and mares. I'll give you the horses in single figures quickly. 1, 7-1, 2 at 33-10. The top one is number 3, Broadlands at 18-10. 8-1, number 4, 6 at 6-1. And then double figures the balance. I think the right filly is on top here, Broadlands, Alistair. She looks like she could be hard to beat. And I think 18-10, I'm going to say, looks generous after prime example coming through to frank the form out the maidens.
I think the reason that she's 18-10, though, Dees, is because I don't think she'll run. She got to race on the Wednesday twilight meeting. And as it stands, she's running on the Wednesday twilight meeting and well, obviously still on the Thursday card. But I think that she can win on Wednesday night. But you know, obviously, if she does, she can't run. And even if she does run on Wednesday, that it's hugely unlikely that Sean Sarri will back her up less than 24 hours later. If Broadlands does run, then yes, I think she will win. And Artie Fanny has decided to take the ride for Sean Sarri, which is an interesting jockey booking in itself. But if you eliminate Broadlands from the race, I think the horse that would bear watching could be number 4, Can't Fool Me. Waiting van Staden rides for Gavin van Zyl. I know she's been off for 114 days, but her runs in Namakwa Blossom wasn't all that bad. Namakwa Blossom has been running with much, much better quality than what Can't Fool Me runs with. She was unlucky not to win on Tuesday, was Namakwa Blossom. So I think that she might have a little bit more improvement to come over a horse like Roslyn, who deserves her win, but has battled to get out the winner's enclosure. And I think the level of form from Namakwa Blossom is better than the level of form behind Sea and Enemy, 3 Strands and Red Maple. The very interesting runner in this race has got awful form, number 13 United Ransom. She's a half-sister to 1 Captain's Ransom, but no one's told her that yet.
Okay, race number 1. If Broad, of course, this show being recorded early, and Broadlands are carded to race on Wednesday at the Twilight Race Meeting, and this show is recorded well before that. So if she takes her place on Wednesday, Alistair mentions she will not run on Thursday, and this just 24 hours later. So you'd suspect that would be the case if she runs on Wednesday. So that is race number 1. On to the start of the exotics now, race number 2. And there is a blindfold on here with regards to the first-timers, but the betting could be a guide for you. I'll give you the horses in single digits. Number 2, Global Thunder, is a raced runner at 13-10. Of the first-timers, number 6 is at 7-2, and number 9 at 28-10. So, what are we doing in the bipot? Obviously, Global Thunder must be a runner that will be included with the experience. And of the first-timers, Stuart Pettigrew's runner number 6 and Sean Terry's runner number 9 look to be the horses that are in single figures and maybe the right ones of the first-timers, Ali.
Yeah, Dee's horrible start to the bar pot. I have an inkling that the form of leaving Las Vegas, although nothing concrete to go on, I think that form will work out. I think the second horse is held in very high regard by Stuart Pettigrew. So, and he'll have a line here. So if there's any money for number 6, Mishavy, then respect that. Mishavy, a daughter of What a Winter. She's probably got the most forwardness about her genetically in this race. Being by a speed stallion. Obviously, the Silvano side on the dam might suggest that she'll get a trip in time, but I think number 6, Mishavy, could have the precociousness to run a good race. And like mentioned, the second horse in Leaving Las Vegas is run as trained by Stuart Pettigrew. So respect any money that might be around, but there's no way in telling. There's nothing concrete to go on how the form is going to work out. The other horse that catches my eye to an extent, just purely from a breeding perspective, and the fact that Paul Matchett readies them up first time, is number 7, C. Veloce. Also respect any money that might come for her. She's got the benefit of a decent draw bang in the middle. So, she might end up in the right place at the right time. And if she possesses any ability, she could make her presence felt. But it's not a nice way to start.
Yeah, very tough for the place accumulator, but I think Gavin Larina's mount looks to be the obvious horse. And if you're looking for the race runner to possibly try and bank her in the bar pot, I think you cannot go wrong here, including Larina and possible banker there in race number 2. Race number 3 over 1,000 meters. It's a juvenile plate. And again, we have some first-timers here. Let's give you the horses in single figures. 3, 7-1, 4, 8-1. Number 5 is 17-10. And then we go on to number 6. That's at 4-1, 7 at 7-2, and then it's 10-1 and better the balance. This horse, number 5, Lincoln Navigator, 17-10. Larina and Van Vieren. What you made of their debut run?
I thought it was a good debut run, but 37 days later, Johan Janssen Van Vieren's table has nosedived. Nothing's done anything from the yard in the last 3 weeks. To be fair, he's sparingly raced them when alarm bells started ringing. I suppose when you adjust the times, and I loathe comparing times, but over the same distance at the same track a week apart, I don't think there was too much difference between these runs of King of Queen, Lincoln Navigator, and Mr. Scotland. So I suppose number 5, Lincoln Navigator, is the right one. He's a well-bred son of Danon Platina. The mother, Carmelita, could run. She was very quick. She was trained by Stanley Ferreira, if I'm not mistaken. Gavin Larina takes her out. A bit of an outside draw, but I think that he'll have the wherewithal with the run under the belt to get into a good position out the pens, and hopefully, if not too green second time out. I see he lost ground at the start. That is a bit of a worry. But with that said, so did number 4, King of Queen. So 5, Lincoln Navigator, would be my first choice. There was a lot of talk about number 4, King of Queen, first time out. He didn't fire. It was a fair run, 8 1/4 lengths behind Fire and Flames. But the fact that there was talk about him, I keep him on the right side. And then number 7, Mr. Scotland, gets the sex allowance of 57.5 kilos on her back. I think she'll be competitive. I've got her in the place accumulator, which is my suggested bet. But the way that she folded pretty tamely with 200 meters left to go is a bit of a worry. But she might get away with it on a very fast-running inside track. So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt with a 6 allowance that she can go well. 3 horses to open up the place accumulator. The reason why I've done that, and they're all race runners, is because I like the breeding of 2 French Impacts, 6 Prince of Green, and also 9 Sylvan Lady. So it won't take much for one of those 3 to give things a shake. So I'll err on the side of Thornton.
Yeah, the fact that there was money for King of Queen and the filly missed in Scotland first time out, one is to take note because they could be, just a bit shy first time out and maybe showing something back home. So it is a tricky start to the place accumulator, but the obvious horses 4, 5, and 7 there in race number 2. On to the start of the pick 6, race number 4, maiden plate over 1,000 meters. And these first timers, well, they won't matter, but I'll give you the betting here because these first timers are in the betting. Number 4, Cosmic Star, is at 33 to 10, 5 at 5 to 2. Then we move along to 8, which is a 7 to 2 shot, 9 at 7 to 1, 8 to 1, number 10. And then it's 10 to 1 and better the balance. I don't know, you mentioned Van Vieren and the form of the stable, etc. What you make of the riding engagements here? I know that this horse, DeMello, partnered first time out, wasn't the worst of run considering the horse was supported. But he's got some jockeys on the other runners here, including Morgine, Simons, and Larina.
I don't like this race at all. I hope that Johan Janssen van Vuren, between 4 and 5 can run to the first 3. I normally get a bit of word from the yard and a bit of a hint, but I think the fact that things have been closed shop for the last 2 weeks or so, they might be a little bit gun-shy to reveal their hand. So I think number 5, Elusive Justice, is held in fair regard. I'm not convinced that they think that he's Group 1 material, but I think that they were tad disappointed with the first run behind Var Park. That, I suppose, puts number 8, Sagan, into the race because there was only a quarter of a length between them, and they both started coming from the same base and having their second start, so they could both improve at the same time. Elusive Justice got the benefit of a 1 draw over 1,000 meters. That's gold dust. So that's my line of thinking. I like the breeding of number 4, Cosmic Star. It wouldn't necessarily be a Hun style to start a horse this late. So let's have a look at the comments here in the computer format. I know that Johan always gives his comments, and he did say nice type could possibly earn. So that's good enough for me, whereas the other horses he's not exactly seen from the rooftops. Maldini, midfield to Mana Money, Pontiac, Mana Money. So from a first-timer perspective, it does look like this horse, Cosmic Star, should have the edge over the stable companion. So 4 and 5 for me. I think Camerata's average. I think she's limited. I liked her last time out. She ran a fair 4th behind Heart's Thunder. Heart's Thunder took a long time to win. I think Sagan will probably be the first one home from the yard, but he's held by Elusive Justice. So I'm going to hold it to 4 and 5 in this race and hope there's a little bit of life from the yard.
Yeah, the way purely on Tuesday's race meeting up in Gauteng, after all those race meetings that were abandoned, the one stable that showed their hand and that their horses are well is the stable of Ashley Fortune, and that combination of Manga and Fortune, well, number 8 will have to be included in the pick 6, although, as Alistair mentioned, seems to be held on that run behind Var Park. On to the 5th race now. And here we are over 1,600 meters. This is a maiden plate. It's the start of the jackpot. Yeah, are you going to take a stance here? Because there's 2 runners that are priced up short, and then you can pretty much name your price with the balance of the field. Number 1, Stepping Out, is at 18 to 10. Number 9, Jet Dynasty, is at 13 to 10. And there's only one other horse in single figures, and that's number 12, Storm Dominator, with the claim 2.5 kgs. Of course, she is the 3-year-old filly, 6 allowance plus 2.5. 2 horses on top, 1 and 9. I think bookmakers have got the spot on, Alistair. 1 and 9 look to be the principles just on what the form represents in black and white.
I think so too, Dees. I think if the inside track doesn't catch out Jet Dynasty, it took him an age to find the stride last time on the Vol Classic track. I'll put that down to inexperience you know, rather than anything else. So I think that run will suit him, and so will the extra 100 meters. From a place accumulator perspective, I think you can go one or the other. With regards to Jet Dynasty, the piece of form that he brings behind Silvano's song is moderate. But I think that Jet Dynasty at least is going in the right way. He is certainly a lot more upwardly mobile than number one stepping out. With that said, I'm sure that we've spoken about number one stepping out since he's been gelded. I called him a few times earlier on in his career, and the thing that kept striking me was this horse urgently needs to be gelded. He was eventually gelded, and he's followed up with 2 seconds and progressing in the right direction, finishing in those 2 seconds. So number one stepping out, I do respect, especially out of barrier one. But I think the fact that Jet Dynasty is just more upwardly mobile, he'll probably have the edge this time around, and probably have the edge over stepping out going forward if they ever meet again.
Yeah, there's 2 runners look to be the right horses here in Jackpot 1. This card looks very, very tricky. And I think here we're going to use the betting as the guide, numbers 1 and 9. And of course, Jet Dynasty, you can see last time out he showed why there was some support for him on debut. I'll just be cautious about these comments in the computer form here. Slow lost 3 lengths, slow losing a length and a respiratory noise last time out. That's always a concern for me, but we'll see what happens with number 9, Jet Dynasty, versus number 1, Stepping Out. Could be the exacta play there if you are not in the camp of either or. Race number 6, this is a divided handicap for fillies and mares, and it's a B division class. There's some quality here. Over 1,450 meters. Like the look of this race, Alistair, because there's some nice horses here. Number 1, Marigold Hotel at 4-1. 4, Tipsy Tarragon at 9-2. 6, Wakanda at 4-1. Then we move along to 7, Princess Philippa at 9-2. Sister Light at 5-1. Golden Aspen at 7-1. And then it is 10-1 and Better the Balance. I'm going to start with a horse that we briefly spoke about when she returned to racing last time out. She's at 14-1, and she is slightly under sufferance. I'll make it 1 kg. But her comeback run was very good, and I'm not going to, forget that at a better in her career, at the highest merit rating mark, she was a 96. I'm going to say there's lots of value if she can just continue from where she left off with Peyton's Tears, number 11.
These I always respect number 11, Peyton's Tears. I've spoken to Lucky Hudolakis about her, and he's tearing his hair out. She's forgotten how to win. Anything changed? No, it's gone in with Alamarts again, second run after a break. It's difficult to stick your neck out with her. When she wins, she'll probably go on a nice streak. You'd want to be on her side. You'd certainly want her in your trifectas and quartets. But the fact that she's forgotten to win is such a query. And I know exactly where you're coming from. Every time she runs, she just screams next time to you. And that's exactly what she did last time up when coming back from a layoff. Next time will be one day. I'm convinced of that, but I'm not too sure it will be in this race because she takes on some good quality horses. The 2 best horses pound for pound in this race are comfortably 1, Marigold Hotel, and 2, Supreme Quest. Make sure Supreme Quest is in your pick 6. I haven't got her in my place accumulator, but I think if she shows 80% of her ability, she'll blow them away, but she's not shown 80% of her ability. Well, she shows it sporadically. Number 1, Marigold Hotel, I think, is winding towards a win. Keegan DeMillo's engagement, I think, is crucial to number 1, Marigold Hotel. Richard Ferree rides her well, and even though I'd say Richard's a bit more vigorous than Keegan, I think Keegan's sort of quieter style might help number 1, Marigold Hotel. So, and they're both quality jockeys. So number 1, Marigold Hotel is my top choice. My backup here is number 6, Wakanda. I always love Wakanda over this type of distance, especially on the inside track. Gavin Larena takes a ride for Roy Magna. She's one of my favorites around at this type of level because, I've always followed her when she was with Sean Terry. She ran above herself. Now that she's with Roy Magna, she's maintained her form. So I have a soft spot for her. And then if you like number 6, Wakanda, you have to like number 8, Sister Lights, because they did meet last time out on the 4th of February. I know that Wakanda's got a slight edge at the weights, But to the eye, I thought Sister Light won a little bit easier than the margin suggested. I know that going from the stand side track to the inside track will suit number 6, Wakonda, a lot more than it will suit Sister Light. Not to say that Sister Light's bad on the inside track. She's very good on the inside track, but I think Wakonda's a few lengths better on the inside track. So I'd go with Wakonda just over number 8, Sister Light. And another horse who goes into my pick 6, although not in my plate accumulator, is number 9, Golden Aspen, because she loves it in the wet. She grows an extra leg when the ground is sticky. I don't know if she possesses the class to beat the likes of Marigold Hotel and Wakonda, but make sure she's in your trifectas and quartets at worst.
Good race number 6, 1,450 meters, and I think you'll get a decent trifecta and quartet regardless of the result. Race number 7 is over 1,450 meters. It's a divided handicap, and we are with the fillies and mares. And how they're betting: number 1, 4-1, 2, 5-1, 3, 5-1, 5 at 33-10. Where do we go next? Number 8 at 4-1, and then it is 10-1, and then better the balance. Now, one has to try and make a play here. I don't know how you saw this race, but what you make of Sean Terry's filly, LMB? She showed that post-maiden run that, the ability is certainly there. And I looked at her rating, Alistair. That's what grabs me here. Carrying 54.5 kgs of this rating at this stage of her career against, horses with some form in this low division handicap, which is a D division class. If she's going to progress and get somewhere as a 3-year-old, because there are a few months left, before Sean Terry can decide which horses he's going to be bringing down a rating with for our KZN champion season. It wouldn't surprise me if this is a type of filly that I could see in KZN in a few months' time.
I prefer others, I must be honest. I thought her run Lady Regent is trained by Candace Orton. She's a good filly, but she's not going to go to Hollywood. And she was beaten a length and a half by Lady Regent. And I know that Candace thinks that number 2, Strange Magic, although when things go wrong for Strange Magic, boy, do they go wrong. But I think Strange Magic is held in higher regard than Lady Regent. So even though LMB has got scope to improve, even though she's well-bred, going back to 1,450 meters worries me. She won a bad work rider's maiden when beating on the guest list. She's still lurking around in maiden ranks. I would like to see a bit more compelling form about number 5, LMB, before I recommend her. My place accumulator numbers here are numbers 2 and 3, Strange Magic and Golden Spoon. There's no prediction of any more rain in Johannesburg leading up to this race meeting, so that'll help number 2, Strange Magic. I think the combination of the wet going last time and 1,800 meters factored against her, but it was still behind a very nice filly in the form of none other, who Lucky Hudalakis couldn't accept in the Volkerbos fillies classic quick enough. She's the only name that's accepted there. And Keegan DeMello takes a ride, by the way, so that's got to ring some alarm bells. Like I said, when things go wrong for Strange Magic, they go properly wrong. If everything goes right, she'll be very, very dangerous. Number 3, Golden Spoon on the run, so Wakonda, I think, is bang there. Nathan Klink rode a winner for St. John Grey on Tuesday in the form of last year, and he rode this filly very nicely, this mare very nicely last time behind Wakonda. So I think a repeat of that run could stand her in good stead. Her rating has dropped, it's plummeted, even though she got a £1 penalty. The point is she was an 84 once upon a time and running with much better than what she runs here of a 76. So I put number 3, Golden Spoon, in the race. You'll need a few more in the pick 6, truth be told. 8, Quasi's Lady, a bit like Peyton's Tears. I think she's forgotten how to win, but she's hinting her win's not too far away. And Malasela Kajedi's well worth his 1.5 kilo claim, so she's got to get into the mix.
Yeah, but Alistair making it competitive. I'm going to take a chance here. Take a big chance in everything with number 5, LMB, from the Terry Cabello Matsiniana combination. And we saw them win with Celestial City on Tuesday. And finally, that horse is starting to gain my confidence now. Race number 8, 1450, a merit-weighted 80 divided handicap. It's 4 fillies and mares. Horses in single figures. Number 1, 8-1. 3 at 5-1, 5 at 7-2, 7 is a 4-1 shot, 10 at 7-1, and then it is 13 that I see is a 7-1 shot. Yep. After the banker arriving in race 7 for me, Alistair, I'll be having the field here.
Yeah, you'll need as many as you can. I've got 2 horses in the place accumulator. I want to start with number 5, Bushveld, because it might sound contradictory. because she was beaten by LMB, but she was, let's say, the trigger was pulled far too early in that run just before New Year's Day on the 29th of December. I believe that she gets right in there in that run to LMB. And then she set the record straight last time when beating Sky Velocity. She was scrapped from the meeting on Tuesday, obviously with this race in mind. Keegan DeMello takes the ride. That's a huge positive. To be fair, I think it's one of the biggest jockey strikes I've ever seen from two work riders to Keegan DeMello. That's got to be worth many lengths. Number 7, Just Be Nice, was a facile winner last time out. I think the handicapper was kind to her. Malasela Kajedi gets a 2 out of 7, Just Be Nice. I think she'll be far better on the inside track as well. Even though she's yet to win on the inside track, she's yet to miss the money. And I think the tight turning track will help her out, especially from a good draw. So they're the 2 in my place accumulator. I have respect for number 3, Be In My Bonnet. She's a very well-bred daughter of Give Me the Green Light. She's been sparingly raced, which suggests there might be a couple of issues that the Aussies need to iron out, but knowing the Aussies, they will iron them out. And then number 8, Gimme the Flame. She was also carded to race on the Wednesday Twilight meeting, but got scratched from that, which surprised me. Obviously with this race in mind as well. So perhaps keep that in the back of your mind. And number 13, Big City Girl, was eliminated from the race on Tuesday because obviously the move from the classic track to the inside track couldn't cater for such a big field. She got eliminated. She's also been costly to follow from a win perspective, but she's always worth following to run into the places. So yeah, complex race, 5 and 7 for me in the PA. If you're taking a pick 6, go in with as many as you can.
Good luck. Race number 8 over 1,450 meters. If you are playing the exotics, well, you'll try and get through with the minimum spend. And if you do just that, then that is a huge bonus to the cost of that perm in race number 8. On to the 9th race. It's a merit-rated 96 handicap over 1,200 meters. And here is where I'm going to say that the market has got it wrong. Number 5, Zabama. Let's start off with number 4, horses in single figures. Number 4 at 7-2, 5 Zabama at 18-10, 7 Texas Red is at 28-10, 9 Set to Go is at 9-2, and then it is 10-1 and better the balance. Firstly, on the market, because Zabama at 18-10, Texas Red at 28-10, it's over 1,200 meters, the exact distance that they raced last time out. Whilst it's a different track, you know, the last time it was at the Val Classic. This is the Turffontein inside track. Purely on the weights, you know, I know last time out was a graduation plate, and this time it's a handicap. Purely on the weights, if they run like they did last time out, I can't see Zabama beating Texas Red again, Alistair.
I agree with you, 100%. I think South Bombers got his issues. I remember in the penultimate start of a 1,400 meters, he got cut into badly, and Johan Janssen van Veeren sent a video that did the rounds. That incident around the turn paid to any chance that he had when he was beaten at 3.5 lengths by Star Queen. But with that said, last time Texas Red put him in his place with contempt. Ryan Munger now takes over. He's been on the inside track once before and finished 3rd to Power Broker. The issue with Texas Red is that he's quite a hothead. He goes down with a lead horse. He can do absolutely anything. And I'm not convinced that travelling away from the Val is really his game. Obviously, Ashley Fortune based at the Val, I think, you know, it helps him out when he stays at home. But when it's an away day for number 7, Texas Red, it just seems that he drops his bundle. I think he's got a lot of ability. There's no doubt about that. And purely at the weights, he is the horse to beat over number 5, Zarbomba. I think the bottom line is that queries and question marks do linger about the 2. What we've got to also take in mind is that number 2, Mardi Gras rating has plummeted. Even though he's got a heavy weight, he gets the useful 2.5 kilos off the back from Sianda Kasibo, drawn in the middle, so that should help. And Mardi Gras was once rated 124. He's now down to 102. So even though he's getting on in years, he's pound for pound the best horse in the race. So I'd have him on my radar from a pick 6 perspective. Place accumulators, I'll go with the 2 3-year-olds. I think one of them will run into the first 3, but from a pick 6 point of view, 2 Mardi Gras, and then Candice Dawson's number 9 Set to Go, have to go. And Candice has been dying to run this horse over 1,200 meters. And this is the tilt at it. I'm not sure whether he's quite got it to beat number 5 Zarbomba and Texas Red if they are at their best, but I think that he'll run into the money.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you about this horse Set to Go, because Candace has kept the individual over 5 furlongs throughout his career. The one run that he did have over a bit further was over 1160. That was the nursery. Was it because, I don't know, was it too early in his career? Or was it the nursery that's a Group 2? Or, is it the distance or a combination of this and that? Because, strange that she's kept the horse over 5 furlongs.
Yeah, he was with Paul Peter at the time was set to go, so I don't really know what happened there behind this call. There was obvious excuses because that wasn't his run. He needed his runs back, and while he was doing okay over 1,000 meters, there was no reason to change anything. What JP van der Merwe has reported is that he just seems to hit a flat spot when he's asked to go in a 1,000-meter race. The others have a turn of foot that number 9 set to go doesn't quite have. The penultimate run to Mover and Shaker was actually a pleasing run with the blinkers. So I think the extra 1,200 meters where he might have an extra stride or two just to kick might help him out. Number 9 set to go. And like I said, Candace has been dying to run this horse over 1,200 meters. Fitness, definitely no issue for number 9 set to go. He's been kept on the boil since the start of November. I think he'll run well, but in my heart of hearts, I think Zarbomba and Texas Red might just have his number.
There are turning points in one's career, and you can basically try and pinpoint it when the turning point happens. And you can ask DeMello. I picked it out when he won at Russian Rock down in Cape Town a couple of seasons back, that short-end finish. And I knew from that day that this boy is growing in confidence. I'll tell you something. This guy, Ryan Munger, the other day when he won an ipso factor, getting the better of DeMello, I think that has grown his confidence in a big, big way. Because that was a tremendous ride to get up and get the better of DeMello, the way the horse won on Tuesday. Keep an eye on that young guy, Munger, the guys that will catch your eye, and he certainly caught my eye with that ride. Race number 10 now is over 1,000 meters, merit-rated 66 handicap. Now, we all have a style of playing, Alistair. We all have a style of playing. Me, I try to find one horse, if there is one horse on the day, to try and cover the money in the exotics. And before I do anything on Thursday, I'm going to be having a go here on one horse to try and get that cash back if the exotics don't arrive. And that's going to be on number 3, Beaded Gown at 23-10. I personally think that looks to be a nice price. You may even get better, but I'm going to try and take it early. 23-10, number 3, Beaded Gown. We then move along to number 8 at 5-1, 10 at 9-2, 11 at 4-1, and it's 10-1 and better the balance. I know it's the last race where some of us may need it most, but this bet will all be taking prior to the meeting starting. 23-10, I'm going to say this is the best bet on the card.
That's a stretch in my book. I'll put her in the race, no doubts about that. Just quickly, did you say 5-1, number 8, Pendragon?
8, yes, that's 5-1. Pendragon is at 5-1, 100% at the time of recording.
I want to be sick. I thought we'd get double figures on number 8, Pendragon. I'll tell you what, let's team up. Let's take, what do we take? A double float numbers 3 and 8 by Field in the quartet and close the book after this.
Okay, 3 and 8 floating in the lucky last. I like the filly. Alistair likes the 5-1 shot.
The bottom line is these. The bottom line is I can have number 3, Beaded Gown. She moved up a winner last time and got outrun by Captain Dizzy, who I know Byron Boortsis has been preaching for months. There's no sign of Captain Dizzy. There's no sign of anything of... not that Captain Dizzy's world-class by any stretch of the imagination, but I think that he'll win a couple of races out of that. And Beaded Gown was just outrun by a horse that was clearly in the right place at the right time. 8 Pendragon, like I said, disappointed about the price that you've quoted, but there's something at 20-1 likely to run into the first 4 here. So that's my line of thinking.
3 and 8 are the numbers to rove in the lucky last. And that's a wrap. But before we wrap, let's get the exotic that Alistair has given. And he's given a place accumulator that I'm told. So, Alistair, go through it.
Okay, so place accumulator starts in race 3 at 1:10 on this Thursday card. Another big meeting, a lot of races again to catch up after all the rain. So 4, 5, and 7. I'm going with the race runners in this maiden juvenile plate. 4, 5, and 7. King of Queen, Lincoln Navigator, and Mist in Scotland. By 4 and 5, which are Cosmic Star and Elusive Justice. I'm a bit weary about that race, if I'm honest, but I think we'll be fine there. By Bank and 9, Jet Dynasty. Bar 1, 6, and 8, Marigold Hotel, Wakanda, and Sister Light to 2 of the Terry runners, both Terry runners in there. Bar 2 and 3, which are Strange Magic and Golden Spoon. The penultimate leg, I've got numbers 5 and 7, which are Bushveld, and just been asked on the final leg again, 5 and 7, Czar Bomber and Texas Red, with a lot of respect for number 2, Mardi Gras, and advising that number 9, Set to Go, gets included in pick sixes.
Well, this show being recorded on Wednesday, and as Alistair was going through that PA, I just opened up my phone to see what's happening, because there's lots happening, as always. But the main topic of discussion on most groups here, Alistair, is the pounding that Liverpool got yesterday. We say yesterday, are we talking about Tuesday? After leading 2-0 and coming to get bashed. Did you watch that, Alistair? I watched a bit of it, I must admit. I watched a bit of it.
I didn't watch it, but I was surprised to see that 2-0 can become 5-2. What also comes to mind is the fact that, obviously we're all exposed to the Premier League more than any other league. But is it really up to the same level as La Liga? I know that we obviously taking Real Madrid and Barcelona as, the Galacticos and all the class and the history that they've got. But we hear a lot about how great the Premier League is and the history and the traditions and the players that are attracted to the league. And yet you see Liverpool getting hammered like that. Liverpool with their great and proud European heritage. It leaves a little bit of a sour taste in one's mouth, but also Liverpool are not quite the force they were this season. I think Klopp's, not that he's under pressure, but I think the players have all aged together, and they need some fresher legs there this summer. They need them quite urgently because then they're nowhere near the class of Arsenal, Manchester United, and Man City.
Yeah, for me it is. It just shows the value of one guy, the man from the continent of Africa, Sadio Mane. It just shows what value he was. Of course, he's with Bayern now, so. The guy that's getting the most stick here before we close, and I must go and watch because I watched most of it, is this guy Gomez. I mean, wow, the guys are giving him a full go. Oh, whoa. That's some soccer talk. Ali, as always, an absolute pleasure. It looks tough on this Thursday, but hopefully that place at Chem later of yours arrives. And thank you so much.
Shot D's, thank you so much. And to all the team behind the scenes and to all the viewers, we'll chat soon.
Yep, thanks to Alistair Cohen on behalf of the Gallop TV team, Alistair Cohen and myself, Dee Stein. And, well, hopefully everything goes according to plan. You find all the winners, you make a huge profit, and all the best for Thursday's racing at Turffontein on the 23rd of February. Until we meet again, you take care.